Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Roster United, episode 72. Can you believe it? Man, 72. And today, normally, what we would normally do is go in depth with another character of Marvel United, the board game. But today, I wanted to do something different. See, today, there's a lot of podcasts out there that don't just focus on one game. Obviously, all of you who are listening came here, wanted to listen to Marvel United and listen to its characters, and I'm having so much fun doing it. You guys seem to be enjoying it, but I thought in expanding what we talk. So today, I was thinking that Roster United will not just focus on the Marvel United anymore, but will also focus on other games as well. And today we're going to try that out and see if you guys like it. If you do, please leave a comment down below, a like, maybe even a subscribe and a follow so you don't miss out on any upcoming episodes. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a game every few days or a week or so, and then we're going to talk about that game, go in depth with it as normal, and then at the end give you my review of it out of a 10. And we're going to go through everything, through gameplay, through how the game is played, to expansions, to even my own personal tips and tips I found online, as well as, again, expansions, challenges, things you can spice up your game. And today, let's start with a game called Kites, a game by Kevin Hamano and published by Floodgate Games. This game came out in 2022. I saw it at Gen Con, and it's a very colorful game, very friendly to everybody. Young kids can play it. Even adults can play it as well. There is a lot of cool, not strategy. It does have a little bit more luck to it, but it is very fun and very challenging. I will give you that. Very difficult game, but very simple. Kites is a 2 to 6 player game. Each game lasts about 10 minutes or so, and the game is required for ages 10 and up. The game is played, you will start with a number of cards indicated on how many players are playing. So, for example, here on the rulebook, it says if you have 2 or 3 players, 5 cards for each player. If you have 4 players, give each player 4 cards. Or if you have 5 or 6 players, give each 3 cards. And at the start of the game, you'll get all those cards. Then you will start by flipping the white sand timer, because in Kites, you have 6 timers. Okay? And what you're basically going to try to do is you're going to work together, all of you, in a team, to keep all of the kites that are represented by sand timers in the air. Players will take turns playing a card, flipping the matching sand timer, then drawing a new card, always making sure none of the timers run out. So, coordinate with your friends and play all of the cards in your hand and on the main deck to win. But always be ready for a storm to roll in. So again, you'll start with those number of cards. You'll start by flipping the white sand timer, and then the first player will start by playing a card. When you play a card, put it in front of you, and you must flip the timers matching the icon or color that you just played. So, for example, there is a card here that has an illustration of a red kite with one red kite symbol. So if I do play this card, that means at the beginning of the game, I will stand the sand timer in a way where, I'll stand the sand timer so it can start counting down. If the timer is already set then what you would do with the red card is flip it to its other side. Now you're trying to do this again to keep the sand timer going. And although this seems very simple and maybe even a little bit boring, it's not. It's very challenging at times, especially when you're playing with more players. The more players, the more chaotic it gets. So after these steps, after you do play a card, after the white sand timer goes, note that some cards will have one kite symbol on them or two. And whatever is indicated on the card, you must flip those sand timers. As long as you do that, you're playing by the rules. After these steps, the player gets a card from the main deck and play continues until the game ends. Note that the white sand timer can only be flipped by a single color card. Again, most cards are going to have two symbols or one symbol. Any one symbol card you can use to flip the white sand timer. The grand finale. In order to win kites, in order to win the game, you must go through and play the entire deck of cards as well as all of your cards in hand. Once all the draw piles are empty, meaning the entire main deck is empty and you can't draw any more cards, toward the end, that means now you're toward the end of your kite show. So that means basically it's time for the grand finale. And when you're at the grand finale, once this happens, the white timer cannot be flipped. And now it's just a countdown. Now it's a race from getting all of your cards from every player's hands down and played and flipped before the white timer goes. So when the white timer, if the white timer ends before all of your cards in hand of all players, the game ends with the players losing. But if you play all of the cards of all players in hand before the white timer goes out, you will win the game. The game also ends at any condition if one of the color timers ends at any time. So let's say we couldn't draw a red symbol again. No one can be able to flip the red timer. What's going to happen now is basically you lose. That's it. You count your scores, see how well you did. Again, the point of the game is to get through all of the cards. So, yeah, there is a score chart here. Basically, if you had 6 cards left in the deck or in hand, basically you get a score saying flying high, can you fly even higher? So that's your high score. Very good. But really, what I come in with the mindset of playing kites is you either finish all of your cards and win, or you don't. That's how I come with. So I have to literally think like that. If you don't, you're going to lose. So again, here are a couple of tips for all of you on how to play the game Kites and what to do. It's very interesting, again, with the gameplay where you're trying to keep the sand timers going. And when one is about to run out, what you'll do, or what you'll try to do, is coordinate an idea, a plan of attack around the table into flipping that timer and let it restart, basically. But at any point, remember, at any single point, one of the timers is empty, you lose the game. So, again, you're working together. No one here can be a one-man show. You need everybody to coordinate to specifically make sure which players have what kind of colors, what kind of cards did they draw in order to flip more colors, and so. And yeah, it's you got to make sure that happens. I remember the first time playing this game, and I was playing with my family, my dad and my mom, and it was very fun. It was a great time playing the game, but we felt short because we weren't coordinating what we were gonna do. So I was flipping over the red timer, and it was about to go out. I flip it and I restart the timer per se. But then my dad flips the red timer again, And that's okay, but my mom doesn't have the red timer. So we lost the game there because the timer ran out. You see, you can do those quick maneuvers if you have to, but you have to make sure that the other players can flip it back in order so the timer doesn't run out. And obviously, you're going, in a 3-player game, for example, you're getting 5 cards in your hand, plus you're going through a deck of 53 total kite cards as well. So, yeah, you're gonna have a lot of cards in there, and so you have to do it fast, but you have to do it the right way, and make sure that everything is running smoothly. I think the theme, personally, for this game does very well. Obviously, it's not going to attract a whole lot of big gamers out there, but this is a great little, a game night kind of game. It's a great kids game as well, but also for adults. I was surprised to see a lot of my older friends play and really enjoying it, because again, it's the challenges, it's how to get this timer flipped and making sure it stays and all this stuff. And there's also these challenge cards, which we'll talk here in a little bit about, that make the game super wild, and it's just awesome. Honestly, it is very, very fun and entertaining too. You pass the time playing 10 or 15 of these games, and it's not even an hour, so that's awesome. I do like that. Also takes no time, and the setup of the game is also very easy to do. All you do is get the main deck, shuffle it up, deal the 5 cards, or 4 cards or 3 cards, whoever is playing, and then then set up the timers, and you're good to go. It's incredibly easy, and I love it. I really do. But also make sure that, as mentioned before, in the grand finale, the white sand timer cannot be flipped. So now it's just a countdown, right? It's just a countdown to see how far you can really go. So during the grand finale, one tip I have for you, one strategy that I've used, is just to play as fast as possible and flip those timers. It don't matter if one timer is going to expire in 5 seconds. If you can play all of your cards as well as everybody else's cards and just bam, 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 just go crazy at it. Now, the white timer you can't flip, so make sure before the last card of the deck is drawn into someone's hand, make sure that person flips over the white timer so you can now go through the grand finale nice and steady, slow and steady. So yeah, this is Kites. Again, very simple premise, but now you might be thinking, well, this game can get get boring really quickly. It can get too simple. You're just kind of doing the same thing over and over again. How can I spice this game up? And well, you had a great question, and you came to the right place to find that answer. Kites comes not with an expansion, but it comes with challenge cards. There are actually 3 different types of challenge cards. You have Airplane, you have Storm, and you have what is this one called? Tide Ropes, I believe. Right, Airplane cards, Cross Lines cards. Because as you know, if 2 kites are very close to each other, there's a probability that they're going to get tangled up in the air. Now, all of these cards, there's 4 cards for each set of challenges, and you will add these cards in the main deck. And when you draw them, different things are going to happen. So let me explain the Storm cards first. Now, the Storm cards have its own Storm symbol. Again, 4 cards for the Storm card. And basically what you're going to do is that when you draw a Storm card, you have to immediately announce to everybody a storm is coming. And this will indicate that on your next turn, basically, players will know that on your next turn, you have to play the storm card. And when you play it, you have to flip every single sand timer, including the white timer, during the game. Now, does this also include flipping the white timer during the grand finale? It does. So this could be bad, or this could be pretty good, saving you from a lot of mistakes or from a kite almost falling. So the storm cards can be great. Most of the times they are not going to be great just because you might have just flipped a timer to, its good side, and now the storm flipped it back. Now, about the flipping part, when you flip a sand timer, you must do it. Meaning, if you played the storm card, no other player can help you flipping the timers faster. You can't do that. So one person has to flip it. So make sure that all of the timers are set in front, in the middle of the table, in front of everybody, so that they can reach them. If a player cannot reach them for any reason, they can ask another player to do it for them. But anyway, storm cards, very fun, and they do add a little bit of a twist there. One of my favorite challenges in this game. Probably my favorite of all time. Another cool challenge card we have here is the cross line cards. If you have a cross line card, you don't announce it to anybody. On your turn, you must play the cross line cards and announce cross lines. This is what you say to everybody. And this is the only card you'll play this turn. Each player must swap any one card in their hand with the player on their left, and any one card in their hand with the player on the right. Note, players may pass a card they receive from one side to the player to the other side. So if you don't like that card that your other teammate gave you, you can simply give it to the player on your right. So basically, you're swapping one card out, or you're swapping two cards out and giving them to two other players. This can be also very good in some ways, because if a kite is about to expire, is about to fall, the sand timer's about to end, and I have no red symbols, and it's my turn, the player on my left or on my right can give me a red card, and I can use it on that turn or on my next turn and give it and flip over that timer. So this can save you on many occasions, but sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes it's a real pain. But most of the times I find this challenge not really a challenge, because it's fun, it's easy to pass those cards, and it can save you from a lot of little mistakes that can happen during the game. The last challenge is the airplane cards. It says here, if you draw an airplane card, you may not tell the other players. On your turn, you must play the airplane card and announce airplane. This is the only card you'll play this turn, and here's what it does. When played, after playing an airplane card, players may not speak until the airplane card is covered up by another card, or, so to say, played by that player on their next turn. So, when you play an airplane card, you cannot speak until I play a card again, basically. And sometimes this happens twice. Sometimes I draw a card and I have to play it. Maybe my teammate next to me has to play it. So now I have to basically wait a whole round table and a half. You know what I mean? And that can really suck, because you have to communicate in this game, right? Communicating. But since an airplane is loud when you're outside, you can't hear the other players per se. So that is pretty cool thematically wise, and I like it. I really do. And it's very fun. This airplane challenge is actually a challenge. It is really good. And then after you play the airplane card and all that stuff, just continue play as normal. There's nothing else special while you keep playing it. But do note that if there are multiple cards on top of 2 or more player piles, nobody may speak until all of them are covered. So even if I have my airplane card out and I do cover it with another card of mine, but if there's another player with another airplane card and it's not covered by another card they played, we still cannot speak. So you could draw like 3 or 4 airplane cards back to back to back, and no one can speak. And that can really affect the game and how well and how smooth things were going. Also note that not speaking includes announcing storms and airplanes, so you have to pay careful attention to other players' turn. So not only does airplane affect you in, hey, you gotta flip this timer now, or I have this card to flip this timer, or whatever. If you also have storm cards or airplane cards, you cannot announce them. So this makes it even more challenging. And yes, you might be thinking, wait a minute, storm cards, so can I play with all of the challenges together? Yes, you can. Actually, I find it more fun to play with all 3 challenges at the same time. But I do recommend, if this is your first time playing Kites, I do recommend just playing the solo game a couple of times, just the normal regular game a couple of times, to get used to it, to get a good feel, a good rhythm, a good strategy, and then one by one, keep adding those challenges, and then at the end, add them all, and see how well you do. I personally love this game. I found it again at Gen Con. I was there last year, and I'm going to go there this year as well. And I don't know, it was very appealing. Lots of people were doing the demos for it. I stuck around for a demo. I loved it. I read a lot about Kites before it came out, and I'm just like, this game looks very interesting, looks very fun. And, I have a lot of family members that don't really play a whole lot of, hard games such as, Anachrony or what's that zoo game that's so popular? I just forgot. Ark Nova. There you go. Or Ark Nova or Kanban EV or any of these games that are huge. Most of my family members just want to lay back, play something simple and fun. And Kites is simple and fun. The only thing is that it just has a bit of difficulty as in due to the gameplay, not really the rules. I'm not the best teacher or explaining games as someone like my father or someone who can really explain things really well. But even I can explain this game to a lot of my friends, friends and family members. And up to this point, everybody has liked Kites. Also, the packaging is amazing. All the memories I have of this game, I will cherish. And I just love it, really. I mean, it's amazing. I've won lots of times, so yeah. But even though I've played this game 20 or so times, and I have won most of the times, it still doesn't mean it's boring. There are times where the deck that I shuffled is absolutely terrible. There are times where the challenge cards comes up at the worst times. There is times where I lose badly. I even have to restart the game in the middle of the match because there is no way we are going to win. But it also provides some fun, and most of the time you are going to win this game, but getting to that point is what's fun and what's difficult at the same time. So the Board Game Geek grading for all of you. The Board Game Geek is a community of board gamers that put in their ratings for a game. So, for example, a 7 is good, an 8 or higher is fantastic. I've never seen a game get rated a 9 or a 10. That is very rare. I mean, I've never seen it happen. So getting an 8.0 or higher is fantastic. Getting a 7.0 or higher, that means basically it's a good game. Kite's rating on the Board Game Geek website, it has a rating of 7.1, which is pretty good, actually, for this kind of game, for its simplicity and its easy replayability. It's actually a solid grade, a solid rating for Kites. My rating is also a 7 out of a 10. I really enjoy it. Again, easy, fun. It still has that difficulty into it that just, and that addicted, you're addicted. You are just addicted of playing this game over and over and over again. Not only getting better, but it's also fascinating to win one of these kind of games because, again, it's a race to the clock, and it's just super fun, super simple, easy to set up, an easy game to play, and it doesn't take long at all, nor does it take a lot of space on the table. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this was a review on Kites. I hope you all enjoyed it. Again, 7 out of 10 for our first ever episode like this. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope I can continue giving more little in-depth reviews in these kind of games. I do have lots of games, if you haven't noticed, because, I have talked a lot about games, a lot of other games from Marvel United, and don't you worry, we will definitely get on a rhythm here with the episodes, and we will talk more about different kind of games. And obviously the point of this series is not just to express my opinions on games or just to make new content. It's also for all of you guys, those who are listening, to get into games, to wanting to play new games and maybe a little bit cooler games or whatever the case may be. These games are fun, and I want you all to know the correct kind of games that you should get for the type of player you are, or type of person you are. So this was a review of Kites. I hope you enjoyed it. You can pick it up online or at your local board game store. It is currently not available yet in Walmart nor in Target, but there is a lot of games that we will later review that are available in those stores. But if you want to get Kites, again, you can always get it online at coolstuffinc.com, or you can get it in your local board game store. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you have a fantastic day. I will see you all later. Thanks for listening. And this has been Roster United.